Hello, Christie Aphrodite again, and I just wanted to do a little follow-up from my last video about my black magic experiences. And I left a few things out. Maybe I got distracted after crying over, my baby and my stupidity and not realizing what was going on. So I actually took some notes for the first time on a few things that I forgot because I just feel it's important to share this stuff because we feel embarrassed, we feel ashamed, we feel crazy, we feel all of these different things that prevent us from actually speaking about it. And you know what? If anyone can learn anything based on my mistakes, then it's totally worth it. So I am going to continue to share my mistakes, my learning experiences with you. So just to follow up on what I was talking about there, I mentioned my dreams was something that was mentioned when I couldn't figure out how I knew these people. And what was really weird about that is this person and I had never talked about my experiences, my visions, my meditations, my dreams, my gifts, my intuition, anything ever. So that was, a real clear sign that he not only knew what was going on, was probably part of well, definitely that's not the only sign that makes me know that he was definitely involved, but the way everything added up. Now, one thing I forgot to mention in the last video when I was talking about the honoring ceremony that I was invited to, he used paints that he actually mixed his sperm with, okay? And during the ceremony, honoring circle or whatever, he, took the paint off of his face, which of course would, already have his DNA there because of the sweat, but then the sperm. And stupid me didn't even realize, he grabbed it and put it on my face just like this. Did a line down like that. And, there's pictures out there so you can see him, but I was like, oh my God, he put a dick on my mouth. Okay, totally gross. But, okay, so I wanted to finish up the story where I was telling you some of the things he was trying to convince us that the only way to have magic and see into other dimensions is to have the 7 orgasms in a row, minimum, and it has to be by licking pee-pee, okay, and, obviously there's nothing wrong with that. There's a time and a place for everything, but forcing someone into sexual practices for your benefit or for, there's good sex magic and there's dark sex magic. This was obviously dark. Okay, so I'll tell you, during our conversation, as I had mentioned before, I wasn't allowed to talk about the ceremony with anyone, and, he never told us what was going on. The conversation that happened later that evening, because I had talked to him before I got out there, when I got out there multiple times, and it's like, okay, can I videotape you? You can talk about what we're doing here today or what it means to you or whatever, which wasn't allowed. So when we were talking later, I'm like, well, can I videotape? And, at first he was like, oh, no, you can't do that. And so this is why. So the conversation comes up, and, I'll share a little bit more. One of the women that was there, beautiful girl, and she's actually been following him for many years. She had a whole notebook of notes, of questions that she wanted to ask. And every question that she asked was basically criticized, and not the question itself, but the way she asked it. So he was able to divert the situation. And the reason I'm telling you this is because these are common recruitment tactics for cults, okay, for cults. And anyways, so she was criticized for how she asked the question and ended up, leaving basically empty-handed and not getting anything answered. But during this conversation, he's telling us about the what was the term that he used? Oh, he used the term sacred kiss. So anyways, she raised her hand. She was so cute. She's like, oh, I know. Do you mean like the Disney princess kiss? You know, and her sweet little innocent charm. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not talking that kind of kiss. Well, let me explain it to you like this. You know how the Christians say they eat the bread and say they eat of the body of Christ? Well, you know, Christ is a woman, and that kiss actually means the clitoris. And so when Americans refer to that sexual act as eating her out, that's what he said the sacred kiss is licking the clitoris, and he allegedly is what Christians refer to when they say eat of the body of Christ or eating her out. So trying to explain how, you know, this is a sacred act and we've been deceived, and, you know, but if you want real magic, it is true. It's just different words. So all you have to do is lay down and let me lick your pee-pee. Okay. Oh, and train other little boys into the old ways. And, you know, it may be your old ways and this and that, but it's a little bit dark. So anyways, that was something I wanted to bring up, that part of the conversation, and that's because these are typical cult recruitment tactics. There was one a couple years back, I didn't get in the story in the last video, where, you know, he's screaming, oh, infinite love and consciousness, baby. Hey, divine feminine, why don't you smoke DMT and lie down with me and let me worship you like a goddess? So these are common recruitment tactics, and, you know, like I said, there's a difference. There is good sex magic, there is dark sex magic, black or white or whatever. It's totally up to you what you choose. The darker, cultish, control side is not for me. But see, it's actually brilliant how they do it, because they'll kind of like tease you. They'll dangle the carrot and, you know, if you do this, then I'll give you more knowledge of the old ways. And, you know, I might have to check with my elders or the shaman or this and that. And, you know, but then you'll be part of the circle. And, you know, those are common recruitment tactics. They try to build you up. Oh, you're special. You're the one. You're the lady of fire. You're the, you know, whatever they want to call you. They'll build you up, build you up, build you up. And it's almost like an instant love. Like you don't know these people at all, but out of nowhere, they're just showering you. Oh, I love you so much. Oh, you're my savior. Oh, you're so great. But yeah, as soon as you don't want to do what they're doing, then you are the devil, and they will do whatever they can to hurt you, to criticize you, which, you know, big deal. That's cool. But to demonize you, to slander you, to outright make up stories and have their little cultist followers that don't even know that they're following a cult, you know, to get after you. So anyways, I wanted to share that. And something else, I didn't go into the whole story with my dog bite. I forgot because I was just, you know, thinking of my sweet little baby. And, you know, it was really interesting about that. So I did tell you that he basically, you know, it was a very subtle threat with the brujo and how they use animals to hurt people. Now, the actual instance in this situation, that if you watch my other videos or look at the photos, you'll be able to see how bad this was. But isn't it funny? It's my left hand. Right after I left a left-hander who had just threatened me with this possibility. Now, this was not a vicious dog at all. It was not some random stray, and I've never been bit by anything, okay? And you're talking to a girl here that chases black bears, okay? I feed wild buffalo with my hands. I have coyotes and raccoons in my house, in my bed, in my, you know, animals don't bite me, they don't hurt me, they love me, they come to my house to die, they come to my house to play, they come to my house for healing, they just, you know, I probably have better animal friends than people friends. So this was not like somebody did something. And, you know, there were 3 dogs. One was mine and 2 were other. I had house sit, and just beautiful, wonderful dogs that would probably never, ever, ever bite anyone. And it was just that weird energy that I had left with, and one of the humans there accidentally stepped on one of the dog's feet, one of their paws, and one of them just had babies, so I don't know what happened first, but a fight erupted and broke out, and here, my dog was healing from cancer and black magic and all of this stuff. So, I just reached in just, to try to protect my dog. I have no idea who bit me to this day. It could have even been my dog. I don't know. It's, so that's how they work. In fact, that reminds me, there was another Brujo attack. It was the same time with that, hey, baby, why don't you lay down and let me worship you like a goddess? Smoke DMT with me, baby. Now, this is a trip. I was in Arizona. My friend was in Missouri. At the exact same moment and time, 1,500 miles apart, a deer just showed up. You know how they jump in front of you when you're driving, and then you swerve one way, and then they go the other way, and, it goes into this. And, a lot of people wreck or hit the deer or whatever. And my friend in Missouri did hit. We were lucky enough not to hit, and I'll tell you why. Speaking of Snickers the angel, she always sits in the front seat. My children were in the middle seats in the van, and then there's a back seat. 60 seconds before we're going around this bend, and it was only like 35 miles an hour, so, it wasn't like we were going really fast or anything, but she just got up out of the blue, out of the front seat next to me, the passenger seat, and walks in the back all the way to the back of the van. Now, that never happens. Anyone who knows me, you try to get in my car. You try to sit in her seat, and she's sitting on your lap or pushing you out or gets there before you or something. So, I knew something's not right, and me and my daughters were like, Snickers, what's the matter? Why are you running to the back? Well, obviously, she went to the back because she knew that right around the corner there was going to be a deer jumping out there, and, maybe we could have wrecked like my friend in Missouri did. So that was really weird, and that was actually the first time. 2 days before was the very first time I even heard of that possibility, and it was so weird. This guy, it was in San Juan River, near Mexican Hat, like southern Utah, kind of close to Canyonlands or something. Anyways, we met someone there who gave me these books and told me, oh, this happens all the time out here, and I'm just, oh, wow, well, that's really interesting. Didn't really think anything of it, but at the time, in my naivety, like I said, I didn't know that any of these things were possible. So I was just totally oblivious, just driving along. So anyways, Snick went in the back of the car. As soon as that happened, she goes right back up to her front seat. So obviously she knew and was preparing, because the way we slammed into the brakes and did the little dance back and forth, she would have been out the front window. So anyways, that was another thing. And I was thinking back of some of the symptoms, the other symptoms that I had. I told you the scent, the odor, which, and this is kind of confusing too, because I remember back at the one instant where I smelled like the sulfur type thing, and then this time the dog odor, and then, even my odor, which, thankfully wasn't as putrid as my dog's, but it makes me wonder, like, why the different smells? Are they different entities? Are they different spells? Are they, why? So if anybody watching this knows where the different smells come from, I would really like to know. But other symptoms is emotions. I was really, really tired. I was really emotional, like easily triggerable. I also had different cravings for food. Like out of the blue, I was craving popcorn. I can't remember the last time I had popcorn, it's just not part of my daily diet, but for some reason I had to have it every day. Popcorn, and I don't know. It was just really weird. So that was, I noticed that, weird cravings. Other weird things that were going on, like for instance, getting back to the Arizona thing. Now, yeah, I have an old car and this and that, but it's gotten me all around the country multiple times. It's perfectly fine. The angels lube it for me and keep me safe, and we're just always safe. It's just the way it is. I have no mechanical problems in my car. In fact, it just, passed inspection. And before I go on road trips, I always take it to a mechanic and, say, can you check my car? And they're like, oh, it's fine. And then I say, well, all right, pretend I'm your daughter. Would you send me on a 3,000 plus mile road trip? And, so then they'll give it an extra look, so my car is totally fine. Yet after that instant, when I had the gift and leaving that really disgusting situation, and in pain, by the way, because this bite was not easy. It hurt. I mean, imagine you got that big tendon here, or the big ligament across your hand right here that holds all of these tendons together to connect, to go up your arm, punctured, boom. So I was in pain, but my car was doing all these weird things where I felt like I was going to be stranded like 3 or 4 different times. And none of that is mechanical. In fact, now that I've been home and the gift has been burned, there's been no problems at all, not one single problem with my car, and I have been driving. So I think that's another symptom, they can create, and, keep in mind the gift was in my vehicle at the time. So I don't know if it was the intention of the person trying to harm me or if it was just strictly having the pendant there that caused these things to happen. I mean, I was just on a road trip to Georgia right before that where I didn't have the pendant with me and it was fine. So, like phone issues, it was funny, like anytime I would talk to someone and talk about that situation or the people or whatever involved, my phone would hang up. Or I'd be able to hear them and they wouldn't be able to hear me. And I'm talking over and over and over. And even on Skype too. So it wasn't just like your cell phone and you're going through a bad service range or something. It was, I don't know. All of these problems magically disappeared. Even when, as far as my cell phone, I know there's this thing out there called cell phone spy that somebody did to my phone a couple years ago, and I started having those symptoms again, so I decided I would change my number. So whoever was, intercepting my stuff and hanging up on me and making it not work, all of those problems magically disappeared. So, anyways, those are some of the symptoms. Let me see what else I think I have the tactics. Okay, so I did want to get into some of the red flags because, see, this whole thing, I knew this person kind of, from before, from my show, and they, came on strong, then disappeared, then came on strong again. And, we've had a few people like that on my show and, just on the internet in general. There's people that claim to be light workers or shamans or, the knowers of all or the keepers of the information. And I'll share these secrets with you if you just join the circle and forever, bond with me or make an oath or, you have to promise secrecy too. And it's funny, speaking of secrecy, when we had that conversation, he never said, keep it secret, don't tell anyone about this. But afterwards, like after I got home and got back on the computer again, like a week later, I had an email where he was saying, to the other person that you have to, don't tell anyone what we spoke about. And I'm just like, what, huh? I mean, if you're telling someone a secret, tell them that ahead of time, right? But anyway, so that was really weird because he would use, little veiled threats like, or the elders will know, or whoever they are, invisible people, will be very disappointed in you. And, whether you tell me or not, we'll know. So anyways, I actually enjoyed getting that email because I'm like, yes, now I have a way out without like, confronting him or anything. And I'm like, oh man, I didn't know that was supposed to be secret. Sorry, I already told everyone. So that's kind of how I got out of that. But anyway, so some of these tactics, the whole love and light or infinite love or all of these weird things that people, they say it's a mask for what's really going on inside. And we are so malleable, okay, and programmable that we'll fall for that. We'll doubt our own intuition to believe somebody else's words. Well, you know what? They put those words there. They tell you those things specifically for you to doubt that. Because if somebody was really loving, if somebody really was real light, if somebody really was a shaman or, you know, a healer or any of those things, or if we could trust them, we would already know that. And they would know that too. They wouldn't have to tell us. I mean, you know, when somebody tells me, oh, Christie, you can trust me, I know that's a freaking devil there trying to, you know, get me to doubt myself. So, you know, I really want people, really listen to yourself. You know, some of the mistakes I've made, it's like I know something isn't right, but I don't know what that something is. So I'm curious, and, you know, I guess I know what they mean now by curiosity killed the cat. So sometimes I'm curious and I want to know, and I purposefully go against my intuition, or, you know, maybe someone's on the network or someone is friends with my friends or something. So I, you know, completely suppress what I know inside just to kind of go along with it and see what that something is. And you know what the truth is? We don't need to know what that something is. Just forget about it. If your body, if your gut, if your intuition, if your heart, if your head, if your something tells you, no, this does not feel good, then get the hell out. Don't worry about figuring out the whys, the whats, whatever. You know, sit back and watch, and they'll probably, you know, they'll definitely expose themselves at some point. They always do. But don't worry about having to know all those things. I have a very inquisitive mind, and I'm like, oh, I want to know. I want all the answers. I need to know. And so, you know, that can kind of get you in hot water, get you in those situations. I mean, really, if I would have trusted my gut, I wouldn't have gone out and experienced this anyways. But obviously I had to. I needed to know. I needed to be reminded, you know, Christie, those perfect little protective bubbles, you know, you want to live in, or those rose-colored glasses, or live in the clouds. It's not real. I mean, it might be real to me or to you to an extent, but it's not all there is. So again, I am super thankful for what I was able to experience. But, you know, you don't have to make my mistakes. Just listen to your gut. Listen to your intuition, and, you know, pay attention to where you're feeling it in your body, though, the different chakras and such, because I said in the last video, I feel it in different places at different times, which in retrospect helps me look back and be able to decipher so I can recognize it again. You know, so that's a good thing, that now I'll be able to recognize these things right away. Oh, I know that energy, I'm out of here. And, you know, you don't have to, it's really easy to get caught up in the judgment and hating them and having rage and maybe even, you know, vengeful thoughts or something. Sometimes I think, man, maybe I should just learn how to, you know, curse them back. And then, you know, of course I think about it or sleep on it, and it's like, no, because that would be just as violent as them. And then I'm choosing to tango with them or do battle with them. And that's not something I want. However, looking away and being silent and doing nothing isn't the answer either. And, you know, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if this is the answer. I have no idea. This is all new ground for me. But I know that this is what feels good, and that's the whole point. Do what makes you feel good, despite the criticism, despite the pressure, despite the promises, despite the, you know, the part of being a club or being part of the cool people and being protected from, you know, whatever they promise you. I mean, I've had people promise me, you know, look, you can do anything you want if you go along with us. You know, like literally a free pass to commit like any horrendous crime you can think of. I've had people offer to pay me off. I mean, seriously, that doesn't feel good. And I haven't done that. I told them right there, nope, sorry, I don't do deals with the devil. And not to say that what I chose would be right for you, but I'll tell you what, I'll do it again. Hurt me, you know, what are you going to do, rape me again? Oh, again? Come on, are you going to kidnap my children again? Come on, are you going to shoot me again? Oh, boo-hoo. Come on, are you going to threaten to imprison me again for 56 years? Come on. all your threats are stupid and worthless and empty anyways. You have no power over me or any of you. Okay, so just stay in the light, stay in what's right, and be wary of those people that tell you how great they are and tell you how loving and light and powerful and how trustworthy they are, because if they were, they wouldn't have to tell you. Trust this, not this. And I think I covered everything I wanted to follow up on. If not, well, I could always make another one. Thank you. Good night.